Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I want to welcome you to the new and improved Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast. After many years of interviewing the best and brightest thought leaders around the world on my SiriusXM show, I am excited to now have those interviews available to people around the globe on this podcast. So many people would write us and say, I love what I've been hearing about your interviews with these great people. Where can I access them? I live in this country or that country, or I don't have access to that technology. How can I get the information? Well, I'm so excited now that we are able to offer the information and the interviews free on this podcast. So we want you to sit back and enjoy this message and let me know how you like them. And then do me a favor. If you like them, send a review, write a review and post it. And if you like it, hit like on here and share it and tell everybody you know about it, and then subscribe to this podcast so you'll get the alerts when we post a new interview episode. Thank you for listening and enjoy the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast.
Named one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world.
Inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame.
Award-winning singer.
Best-selling author.
And now, here's Willie Jolley.
Well, it's true. I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds, and it forced upon me. I can't refuse it. I didn't seek it. I didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer. If I lose it, give account. If I abuse it, it's just a tiny little minute, but our eternities are wrapped up in it. And I'm grateful for this minute, this moment, this opportunity to be on with you, with each and every one of you, to be on this time, this moment, to share with you some information, inspiration, and encouragement to help you do more, be more, and achieve more. You know, that minute is God's minute. That was written by Dr. Benjamin Mays, who was Martin Luther King Jr.'s mentor, who encouraged him to dream big and to think big thoughts. And that minute really does clarify and signify that we must make the most of every minute and that we must give God glory for that. So I'm grateful for that. And I take a moment at the beginning of this show, every show, to do that minute and then to give God glory, to thank him for life and strength and health, to thank him, not because this now is the #1 self-help show in the country, not because we've got the podcast that is now in multiple markets, or not because of my speaking in the books, but because of life. Every time I think of life, God's gift to you is life. Your gift to God is what you do with your life. So you should do something extraordinary, exceptional, so that when you die, God will not be ashamed of the creature and the impact you made. So do something exceptional and give God glory. All right. Now, I am also thankful for our sponsor, Truist Financial. 2 banks came together, BB&T and SunTrust, to create a new entity called Truist. And Truist has a commitment to the community. They have made a commitment to help people all around the country and around communities to build their success and build their futures, their businesses, their finances, their wealth. They are doing incredible things with their resources to help more people to do incredible things with their lives. So I want to encourage you to go to Truist.com, Truist.com. Truist Financial is a member, FDIC. Well, I talked about the fact that I'm thankful for this moment to be able to be with you. I'm thankful for God giving me another moment. I'm thankful for our sponsor, and then I am thankful for our friends. I got some friends. I have been blessed to have some really, really, really high achieving friends who I can call up on the cell phone and say, hey, what you doing? I need you to, and I called one last week because many of you know I recently had Bob Proctor on my show, and Bob Proctor, doing that interview mentioned one of our friends that we both love a lot, Mark Victor Hansen. And he said, Willie, I was in Vegas. Me and Mark were, me and Les Brown were having a dinner, and we called Mark, and Mark was in Vegas, and he came down, and we all sat around and laughed and talked about ideas. And when he said that, boom, I said, I got to call Mark. Mark and I, for those who don't know, let me first read about him. And then he has a special guest with him, a really, really smart, high-achieving lady. Mark Victor Hansen is best known as the co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul book series and brand, setting world records in book sales with over 500 million books sold. Mark also worked his way as an incredible keynote speaker, entrepreneurial genius. He's a genius. I have never found someone who I can be around who can give me 20 ideas in 20 minutes. And then he creates a stream of successful people who have created massive success for themselves. His unique teachings and wisdom have impacted people globally. He has a charismatic style. He captures his audience's attentions as well as their hearts. He's spoken to over 6,000 audiences worldwide, a one-of-a-kind technique and masterful authority on the work time. And again, he continued to receive high accolades from his audience. He and his beautiful bride, Dwyer Hansen, have co-written the newest book to be released in April 2020, which is now out and is now here, called A.S.K, and the Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny. And it is out. For those who have seen the video, he is showing it. And let me tell you about his beautiful, beautiful, beautiful wife, Crystal. Dwyer Hansen is an international speaker, researcher, corporate consultant, author, and entrepreneur. Her expertise is in the field of human potential. Through her years spent as a transformational life coach and wellness nutritional expert, she has seen people experience profound and lasting transformation in relationships, career, health, and wellness by tapping into their own inner resources, having personally guided people from seemingly impossible states of depression, anxiety, and hopelessness to triumph, freedom, happiness is what drives Crystal's convictions that all people have unlimited potential, amen, for greatness if they only understand how to achieve and access those resources. She has researched neuroscience, epigenetics, I don't even know how to say that, epigenetics, that's it, epigenetics, and quantum physics, and provides the scientific knowledge that helps people to use their minds proactively and evolve their consciousness to move out of misery into a fulfilled and happy life. Her coaching programs, speaking CDs, videos, books, articles have helped millions of people around the world. She's a member of the International Coaching Federation, a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and founder of Crystal Vision Life Limited. Her book, my wife liked this book when I showed it to her, Skinny Life, The Secret to Being Physically, Emotionally, and Spiritually Fit, is available at Barnes & Nobles. And she has been with her husband helping them to grow people around the world. I'm just glad to have y'all both. Y'all are awesome. I had to read it because there's so much good stuff in there. I couldn't remember all of it. And then I must say that Mark and I have been friends for many, many years from the National Speakers Association. He wrote one of the quotes for my first book. That's 25 years ago. And we did a tour together from the Crystal Cathedral. We were both invited to be keynote speakers on a men's conference tour at the Garden of Grove, California, Crystal Cathedral with Dr. Robert Schuller. It was so successful that people called who had been there and said, "We need you to come to our city." And so Mark and I and Charlie Tremendous Jones, bless his heart, we went out on this tour and we became even closer, having dinner together every night, learning just so many ideas from the two of them. I grew tremendously, exponentially. And he has been my friend. When I launched this show 15 years ago, I called him. He was one of my first guests. And over the years, he's been back to visit as his time allows. So I'm just grateful that I'm able to have you on and talk about this new book. I've given them the thumbnail sketch of the two of you. Fill in the blanks as you see fit.
Well, thank you. It is a delight to be your friend. And I don't know where those 25 years went. To me, they felt like
it's like a blink, you know?
Well, that's what I was saying, a blink, a candle in the wind, as we heard Elton sing. Look, I've been more than blessed. When I went bankrupt, I asked my questions and got out of it. When I started speaking, I asked guys like Cabot Robert how to do it, and a lot of other people, Chip Collins, and went out. And as you know, the first 3 years, I did 1,000 talks a year because I was either selling talks or giving talks. That's all I did. And then when Jack Canfield and I met, he said, "Man, you're the best storyteller I have ever heard in my whole life. We got to put this together." So he had the wrong, I think he came up with the first title, which was a little anemic. And I said, no, we got to meditate and go to God and say, make the best-selling title, make a best-selling title, make a best-selling title. And he calls at 2:58 in the morning. This is before cell phones. So the whole family woke up. All the dogs woke up. All the chickens woke up. We had 88 animals on 1 acre at that moment. And I thought, oh, my God, all hell is breaking loose. And what's happening here? And luckily, he said chicken soup. I said for the soul. And now we've sold 500 million books around the world. And it has been a magnificent ride. And I've now written 318 books. It's sort of in.
You have written 318 books?
Yes.
This guy, I'm telling you, folks, and he is like this all the time. It is an idea just comes out. He has this effervescent personality. When you're around him, you just are lifted just by his personality. And he's charming and he's friendly and he's helpful. He loves people and he helps everybody. Beautiful wife, Crystal, tell us a little more where you came from, how you got to be here doing this book with your husband.
Well, sure. I'm happy to. I grew up in a family of 9 children, and I think I was fascinated from the very beginning, really, that we had 11 people in the household. And, all of my siblings, we grew up with the same parents by the same set of the rules, ate out of the same refrigerator. But each of us turned out to be very different. And I realized there was something that was beyond the external circumstances that make you who you are. It's all those little micro choices that you start to make. So I ended up going into real estate when I grew up and went away. And even when I was selling homes and working with people, I found that people would come to me and sort of lay their hearts and their lives out for me. And I had this sort of passion to help people get from where they were, whatever stuck state. Somehow they felt comfortable sharing with me what was going on in their relationships or their business, their career. And I thought, I need to do something more. So I went back to get my degree in psychology. And then I was also building my own houses for investment at the time. And my cabinet builder showed up and I said, "Tony, you look amazing. You've lost so much weight." And he said, "Yeah, I quit smoking." And I said, "Wait, how do you quit smoking?"
Well, how did that work? Right.
And he said, "I went to this hypnotherapist who did this guided visualization to get into my mental programming. And he basically had me listen to it for 30 days. And after that, I didn't crave cigarettes. I craved water. I didn't turn to alcohol." He said, I can go hang out with my buddies. They can all be smoking and I don't want a cigarette. And he goes, "I also lost weight." So I was intrigued. I thought, wow, the power of your own mind.
Wow.
And, so I went into my coursework. I went to the biggest holistic college in the country and became certified in life coaching and clinical hypnotherapy, which is really just guiding people in a relaxed state of mind to their own goals, to the things they want. Because what happens is we've all been hypnotized by life circumstances, thinking we can't be, more than we are, or we're doomed to be heavy, or we're doomed to always be in debt. And all of those are lies that we tell ourselves. So I started having remarkable results with my clients. I started writing a book about it, and I've been recently divorced. And my mom got an email for Author 101 conference and said, "Crystal, you have to go to this. There'll be publishers and publicists there, and Mark Victor Hansen will be there." And so the promoter called me right back. He said, "Yeah, we're not sold out. Come on over." So a day and a half later, I'm at this event in the VIP room, and Mark's surrounded by an entourage of people. I'm talking to a speaking coach. Someone spills an entire glass of red wine on my white pants. Ironically, I'm not even drinking. I'm like all business. I'm like, I'm not going to drink anything, not having wine. And Mark must have seen it. He must have been looking my way, Willie, because he rushed over. He broke out of his crowd. He rushed over and said, "Oh, so sorry. You have wine spilled on you. Let me try to help you find the club soda." And he pulled me out of the room. We found the club soda and started talking. And I told him the work I was doing and the amazing breakthroughs my clients were having, been depressed their whole lives. And in 5 sessions, they were completely free of crushing depression, things like that. So he said, we need to talk more. I think you could really have an amazing impact on especially women in this world.
Wow.
So he said, let's go to dinner. I went upstairs. I said, I got to go change out of my pants. I'm hungry too. So I called my mom. How are the kids doing, Mom? I have to be quick. I said, you won't believe it. I'm going with Mark Victor Hansen to dinner.
And that was the start. Hold that thought. We're going to come back to that story. What a great story about things happening as they should. We're going to be right back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways Show. And for sure, your best is yet to come.
Afraid of flying, I always kept my dreams on the ground. Life had enough ups and downs.
Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I have a question for you. Have you ever wondered why some people can make $1 million, lose it, make a second million, lose that, then make a third million, while other people can't even make ends meet? Well, the reason is that those people know the recipe for success. And that recipe is available to everyone if you will do what they did. They made a habit of getting positive, motivational resources of great thinkers and great learners. And I want to offer those same kind of resources to you. We've developed a free page on my website. It's wjspeaks.com/gift. wjspeaks.com/gift. On that site, we've got resources, books, audios to help you to grow, and they're free. So go to wjspeaks.com/gift, wjspeaks.com/gift, and get some of those resources, and then share that page with your friends and your family members. We want to impact and inspire millions of people. And remember, if you enjoy this message on this podcast, like it, share it, and post a review about it, and make a difference in the lives of others by letting them know about it. Have a great day. This is Dr. Willie Jolley.
A to the D to the T to the I to the T to the U to the D to the E. A to the D to the T to the I to the T to the U to the E to the E. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's all about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's all about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude.
And we're back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show and Podcast. I want to encourage you all to make sure that you follow me on all social media, but you also get a subscription, or you download, or you sign in to my podcast on C-Suite Radio. C-Suite Radio. That's where I want you to go. C-Suite Radio. Now I'm also on all the other platforms, iHeart and Spotify and Stitcher and Tuner. But we got some special things for you at C-Suite. They're doing some really great promotions to get more people to be involved and to get more people fired up. So go to C-Suite Radio and make sure you subscribe to the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways Podcast. All over the world, we're getting people to do it. Now, my guests are two just high achievers. One is a beautiful psychotherapist and life coach and counselor and achiever. The other is the well-known, he's a mogul. That's really what he is. He's a mogul. He's a media mogul. He's a publishing mogul. This guy has sold over 500 million books, 500 million books globally. You know, you got one in your home somewhere, a Chicken Soup for the Soul. I'm on the front of one called Chicken Soup for the Christian Soul with myself and Joyce Meyer and Naomi Rhodey and Tony. I got so many. Look, we got so many of the greats, so I was able to be on the front cover. How did I get there? I don't know, but I'm glad I was there, and I'm glad my story was in the book. And then I went on to be in the top 100 stories of all time on the Chicken Soup. So I am honored to be in that group, but I'm honored to have this guy is my friend Mark Victor Hansen, the one and only speaker extraordinaire and writer, incredibly talented and gifted writer. They got a new book. Now, Crystal, I want you to finish telling me how you met Mark. You went to this this writing conference. Mark was the speaker there, and the star of the show. And you spilled wine on your pants. He realized there was a problem, which he does, and says, "I got to help." He ran over and said, "Let me help." And in that process, y'all started talking. He was aware that you had a special gift. And he said, "Let's go to dinner. Let's talk about ideas." Because he's an idea guy. Look, when somebody got an idea, his antenna goes up. So you went to dinner. What happened?
So I'll let you take this part because this is really acute.
So remember, we were having fun, and I said, "Look, we got to go off the property. There's 1,000 people here plus that want 2 minutes of my time, and I'm not going to get to talk to you." And it was like 9:30 on a Saturday night. And I take her to the best restaurant in Hollywood, and there's a line of 50 people outside, and I go, "Oh, a $100 bill won't get me through this, so what do I do?" So I thought, well, we'll be bold, right? And I'm teaching asking. We got this book out called Ask, The Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny. So we go right up to the gatekeeper. He sees the beauty of my wife, which she is absolutely stunning lady. And he looks at her and says, mentally, he's thinking she's a movie star because we're in Hollywood. And he says, "Okay, I give up. Who is she?"
Wow.
I asked a question. I said, "Wait a second. You don't recognize her?" And the guy goes, in his mind on steroids now. And he says, "Okay, I give up. Who is she?" Now, we're both of Danish descent, as you know, and I'm goofing around. And I say, "She's a queen of Denmark." He says, "No, she's not." And he goes, "Oh my gosh, she is. Who are you?" I said, "Wait a second. Who travels with the queen?" He said, "Hold on, you're the king. We got a table that quick." And by the way, once we're in, it was all gone. And then back to your question, we just melted together in questions, and we've never stopped talking to each other since.
Wow. What a great story. And from that, now you have a marriage as well as you now have a new book, an incredible new book. And it's called Ask, The Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny. Now, the beginning of the book has a parable or a fable, a proverb kind of story about Michaela. Did I say it correctly?
That's correct, yes.
And Michaela's incredible story about the power of reading and asking. And I was so taken because she became a teacher to teach those who could not read in her community, even though she was an indentured servant, how to learn to read. And as a result of that, going back to the king and queen of the community heard about her exploits of helping others and doing it with no expectation of anything in return. And as a result of that, was able to get her from her indentured servanthood, as well as become the queen, part of their court. It's a fabulous story. I mean, tell us about how you came to this book, how you came to the story, and what are the principles? There are a lot of principles in this book that will change people's lives. And I want people to make a beeline to go get the book. So tell us more about it, Mark and Crystal.
So just the fable of Michaela really quickly, we split up the book, we wrote our chunks. I started writing the fable and it just flowed out of me. I couldn't stop.
Wow.
It was like it was written somewhere else and I was lucky enough to just be the scribe. I mean, I was really grateful, but it's basically, Michaela really is every woman, every man's story, Willie, when you think about it, because she starts off, she has lost everything. She's
right.
lost her mother, her father shortly after, and then the bill collectors took her home from her. She's literally sleeping in a grove of trees. And she has no hope. And her job is basically as an indentured servant at the stone quarry to move heavy rocks every day from one place to another. And honestly, that's how a lot of people feel right now, especially after this whole COVID thing. A lot of people haven't done really well through this COVID thing, or just generally in life. That's how we feel sometimes, right?
Right.
Well, so she goes into that dream, and then I'm not going to give it all away, but the being comes to her and gives her this message about asking. And so when she goes forward in her life, she wakes up with a different attitude and wakes up in kind of a wonder, like, what does that mean? And immediately she starts to wonder, she starts to ask, she starts to look around her and realize there might be something she's missing because she's so shut down. And little by little, as she keeps asking through the course of this story, her entire life changes. Wow. And you gave away some of it, but she becomes literally a different person.
And it's the principles, because the story is A great story. It's a great, all great stories have a couple of things that work. They have a maybe a good beginning or a challenging beginning, but a hellified middle. There's always a hellified middle, but then there's a happy ending. But you can't get to the happy ending without the hellified middle. It don't work like that. And so you got to go through something to get to something. So the principles, though, that are taught through the story are what will inspire you, because you can know the story of Little Red Robin Hood or Humpty Dumpty, but it's the principles you learn through the story that will help you to have greater long-term success. And that's what I love in it about asking, and the principles about giving, and the principle about doing so without any expectation of anything in return. Do it from your heart sincerely. This is a great story. Got great principles throughout it. Okay, and then you go into the book. And I mean, the book is just dynamite. It is incredible. What made you think about coming up with writing this book, Ask?
Here's what we discovered. You don't get what you deserve in life. You get what you ask for.
Oh, that works for me. That works for me. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you ask for.
We traveled to 80 countries, met all kinds of wonderful, spectacular people. But the difference, Willie, between those who are little achievers, like you started this show, and big achievers is one thing and one only. They know how to A.S.K to G.E.T what they want.
Right.
And what we said is, wait a second, you've got to ask in 3 dimensions. Ask yourself, ask others, and ask God. And you need to do all 3. And a lot of people, I say to you, and only because you've got such spiritually minded people listening to the show, I've not said this before, but most people are stuck because of COVID, confinement, cocoon, in just 2 of the 3 dimensionality. And we're saying, hey, look, I believe, and I think you'd agree with this because we've done so many programs together, the spirit runs the mind, which runs the body, which runs your results. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The spirit runs the mind, which runs the body, which runs. Absolutely. And there's a quote you gave me. You must think massive thoughts, take massive action if you want to get massive results. And you taught me that years ago. Massive right thinking and massive right actions create massive right results. I have quoted you in my book, A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback, that if you want to have a comeback, you got to have understanding that it's going to take massive action, and you got to ask. And I love in the book, you go right to the spiritual principle. The spiritual principle, ask and it shall be given unto you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door will be open unto you. For everyone asks receives. Everyone seeks finds. Everyone knocks, the door is open. Most people receive not because they ask not. Come on, somebody. And so that's it. Am I right, Crystal?
That is so right. And we read that in our Bibles, but we don't really take it seriously. We don't pay attention to it. We all come into this world really as these beautiful little uncorrupted answers. Askers straight from heaven. We're not afraid to ask anything. We're wildly curious. We want to know who, what, when, where, why, how. And we also aren't afraid to ask for more, and pretty much ask for everything. And then depending on how we were parented, what happened in our school years, basic life rejection, your opinion's not valued at work, your teachers told you to be quiet, don't ask any more questions, your parents told you that's enough. We start to get shut down, and that natural ability that we're all given when we come here is literally crushed out of us. And suddenly we're standing there as adults, pretty much terrified to ask anyone for anything, and almost ashamed that we don't somehow already have all the answers. And it's very sad, because there's no way any of us will have all the answers, throughout this lifetime. And so we want to bring that back to life, that beautiful ability that we were all born with to ask.
Wow. This is the kind of messaging I want people to understand, because we want you as entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs and small business people and people who want to build great wealth to understand that you must ask for what you want in life. You must be willing to learn that skill. And it is a skill set. It's not just a nice nicety. It's a skill set to learn how to ask for what you want and be clear that there is a definite connection between your actions and asking and what you receive in life. We're going to talk more about that when we come back from this break. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show. And I want you to make sure that you stay tuned because we've got more to come. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I got an email from a gentleman in Australia who shared how he had been struggling in his business, and he bought some of my books and audios, and how it had a profound impact on his business, and he went from worst to first in his company. I shared with him how much I appreciated his note, but I told him those books, those audios, those videos were not just something that I just thought up one day and started to write. They were born out of my experiences, out of the challenges of overcoming the problems and the difficulties and how I was able to do it. And I shared with him that others have sent similar messages and that these resources work. I want to encourage you and invite you to go to my store. Go to wjspeaks.com/shop. wjspeaks.com/shop. Get some of the books. It only takes a minute to change your life. Or a setback is a setup for a comeback. Or turn setbacks into greenbacks. Or chicken soup for the soul. Or an attitude of excellence. Or the book I wrote with my wife after 34 years of being married and not having an argument in over 30 years. We wrote a book called Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. And now it is saving marriages all over the globe. Go to the store. Get some of the audios, the videos, the books, the resources to help you have greater personal and professional success. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Make this a great day on purpose.
And we're back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show across America, border to border, coast to coast, all over the globe now on internet. For those who have global access, Sirius XM Canada, we want to welcome all of you who listen, and Sirius XM and all the other countries. And then we want to welcome all those who are joining us by podcast, and we want to thank you. Then I want to take a moment to talk about my sponsor again, Truist Financial. Truist Financial is the new, incredible, wonderful bank financial service organization in America. They had two great banks, BB&T, SunTrust. They came together to create a new entity, Truist, and they have really made a commitment. They have something called the Truist Community Fund, where they have committed $60 billion to help small businesses and to help those who are trying to grow their wealth through enterprises that are impacting communities. And so they have made this commitment. They are focused on it, and they are committed to helping as many as we can to do more, be more, and achieve more. So make a point. Go to Truist.com. Learn about all they're doing. Truist, Truist.com. You'll be glad you did. Truist Financial, member FDIC. Well, now I've got my special guest, the one and only Mark Victor Hansen, and his beautiful bride, Crystal Dwyer. Did I say correct? Dwyer?
Dwyer, perfect. Yes. You did.
Okay, Hansen. And she is just an incredible woman, because she is not just someone who is able to give you coaching, but also to understand psychotherapy and all of the other parts of your life that can be empowered by your thinking, your thoughts. And so the two of them have created a power team. And now they have a new exciting book that you can get it. Where can they get it? How can they get it? And how can they get in touch with the two of you if they want to have you maybe speak for an event or something like that? Please let us know.
No, go.
So you can find the book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or any of the indie bookstores. They're carrying it too. So people just find Amazon to be the easiest way. And then once you buy the book, please reach out to us at askthebookclub.com. We're hosting a book club. You'll get a free invitation. We want everybody to learn to be a master asker. And we don't want you to have to
say that one more time. Get everybody to be a
master asker.
I love that. Oh, I love that. Now that's a great line. A master asker.
Master asker. Because it just so happens, Willie, that the most successful people happen to be master askers. They go together. It goes hand in glove. So yeah, go to askthebookclub.com after you get your book. and get ready to have an amazing discussion, because we want everybody to get to the next level and the next level and next level, because that's what asking does for you. You ask a question, you get a solution. You ask another question, you get a different illumination. You ask another question, a plan starts to form. The problem is most of us get really stuck in our lives. Things happen. Adversity hits all of us, right? I don't care how rich you are, how good looking you are, how successful you are. We all know this life is not a straight and narrow path. I mean,
Right.
We call it the university of life. We're here to learn and grow and evolve. So what we need are some real tools that we can pull out of our toolbox when things get tough. And unfortunately, we get stuck in our problem, get mired in the problem. Sometimes we're not thinking creatively. Well, the best way to get out of that, get unstuck, is to start asking the right questions in the right way at the right time. And that's why we wrote this book.
Wow. I love this. Before I go any further, too, I want to make sure I tell people where they can reach my buddy Mark, because he has so many resources. Is it markvictorhansen.com, Mark?
Yes, that'd be perfect. And they can watch all of the stuff on YouTube. And what we want to do, getting people to be masters at asking, is understand we've discovered 7 roadblocks that are the withhold, the detour, the stop. Now, every one of us has had every one of them, but at any one time, some of us have. And what we're holding up is a mirror and say, hey, look, is unworthiness stopping?
Right.
Fear stifling you? Is doubt getting you down? Are you full of excuses and you don't even know you're full of excuses? Are you full of naivete? You don't know, and you don't know that you don't know, and you don't even suspect that you don't know. Only because you're a speaker, I like doing it this way.
I know.
And pattern paralysis have you, and are you disconnected? Because a lot of people have been so shut down, they don't think they can ever open up. And that's why we're getting hundreds of letters from people who are saying, hey, wait a second, COVID confinement cocoon has shut me down. And what you did is you got the book to us, and we bought 2 of them, and my wife and I, or my girlfriend and I, or my church mate and I, or my business partner and I, my mastermind partner, have gone through it, and we're breaking out. And that's what we think all 8 billion people around the world have to do right now.
One of the things I love about the concept in the book is you encourage people to buy the book, buy numerous copies for your family members. And that's what I encourage people to do. Buy numerous copies. Maybe get, like a guy bought 10 of my marriage books recently. And he also bought 10 of my setback, setup for comeback books. I said, why are you buying 10? He said, I want to give one to all my family members, which I would encourage people to do with this book. And then once you do that, he recommends, and they recommend in this book, that you go back through the book and you make it a study guide, not just a one read and done. You make it a study guide, and then you get others on the phone who you can say, hey, let's talk about this part of the book or this chapter, or maybe this issue that's stopping us from asking for what we want, speaking to the universe about here's what we want. And you got to speak it. You got to ask it. You got to, he said it wonderfully, but I want to make sure you heard what Mark said earlier. If you don't A.S.K, you don't G.E.T. If you don't ask, you don't get. And many people are afraid to ask. And those reasons, I love when I read those reasons, naivete, that they have a fear of some sort. What is it? So what is it that you're going to tell people they can do to break their fears, their issues? What is it that breaks these strongholds that keeps them from asking?
So the first thing we need to do really is, if you're feeling fear, if you're feeling stuck, if you just can't seem to figure out how you're going to move your life forward, whether it's in your career, your relationships, your health and fitness, or your life purpose, then it's time to start with the ask yourself part, okay? And that is the reflective journey. And so few of us take enough time to do that, the ask yourself part. You can't know where you're supposed to go.
Okay, give me an example, Crystal. Yeah. Ask yourself, how could I ask myself? Tell me something I could do to ask myself that has stopped me from becoming all I want to be.
Right. So there are so many questions, but here are the major categories of asking yourself that really work for everyone. There's 3 critical phases. Where am I right now? Where am I?
Right.
And all the questions that come under that. Am I happy? Is this working? Am I just beating my head against a wall? What am I seeing everything I'm supposed to see? Or am I ignoring what is right in front of me because I'm scared to face it? Mm-hmm. And there are a bunch of questions in the book, the holding up mirror questions, the self-reflection questions, all these questions that we give you that'll start to stimulate that thinking. And as you start to ask questions, more questions will come to you. That's the beautiful thing about asking. It opens your mind to everything that's available to you in God's beautiful and perfectly orchestrated universe. So you can't ask a question without getting an answer. It will come to you. So the first critical phase is ask, where am I now? And then where do I want to be? So few of us deliberately sculpt our lives. We just think that life is out there somewhere coming at us, and we're just trying to duck and dodge and keep the balls up in the air. That's not the way life should be lived if you want to live your most amazing life. And we say that where do I want to be should come from, ask that question from the highest place of your beautiful imagination, because God gave us an imagination that he gave to no other animal. Okay, that's part of our being created.
So that's why in the scripture it says, ask and you shall receive. And what are your greatest desires? You shall get the desires of your heart. But if you don't know what they are, how are you going to have them? Am I right about it? And so you got to ask for them, and you got to think about them. And what does your ideal life look like? Well, if you had a magic wand, you're asking those difficult questions? Then you got to ask others. Now, what about asking others, Mark? You have no issue with asking folks to get stuff done.
Well, as you know, I went bankrupt in 1974. I built the Wall Street Racquet Club Botanical Gardens. I've been with Buckminster Fuller, the guy that did the G.E.T dome. Problem is, I was building out of plastic, so I checked the book out of the library by asking the wrong question. What if I go bankrupt? And I checked the book out of the library, how to go bankrupt by myself. So I crashed and burned. And there's people out there that are hanging on by their fingernails, so I'm not making fun at all.
And you know what? And they need to hear this, that it wasn't a crystal staircase from you. You went through bankruptcy. You went through the pit and the detail of the dire places in life, but you came out of it.
And for 6 months, I was sleeping in front of another guy's room. I don't know if you know that, in a sleeping bag. And I kept saying, okay, God, if you got something up here for me, otherwise I'm going to slash my wrist, because I feel distraught, despondent, disconsolate, beat up. And he said, no, Mark, it isn't that way. What do you want, God? I said, whoa, I want to talk to people that care about things that matter, that would make a life-changing difference. Well, now it was clear, and that was in the middle of the night. So I wrote it down. I go down to my roommates in Hicksville, Long Island, New York. Things weren't that good then. I say, hey, guys, you know anyone young speaking that's not a lawyer, doctor, Broadway star, celebrity, a famous person? I got to ask you. I just had a miracle. God just told me what I got to do. I want to speak, but I got to relate to somebody young. The guy said, look, here's my ticket. I'm in real estate, and this is a ticket to Chip Collins. I can't go. He's out in Hauppauge, Long Island, New York. I raced my little butt out there. It's the worst economy ever. You know, we had 28% interest, is going crazy. I watched this guy mesmerize the audience for 3 hours. Wow. At the end of which, that was miracle number 2 that I got there. Miracle number 3 is I say, hey, Chip, I want to buy your lunch and learn how to do this. He said, look, kid, you can ask anything you want. And I said, I am going to ask because I need help. He said, but the chance you make it is 1 in 1,000. You ain't going to make it. But if you'll stay out of real estate, I own the 5 boroughs of New York, and do life insurance, I'll help you. So he told me what to do, how to do it. That was a 3rd miracle. The 4th miracle is I went and did it. And like I said, I booked 1,000 talks because I believe this thing I teach. You got to take massive action to get
massive action. Mm-hmm.
And only Tony Robbins and I, we were on a program together in New York, it turned out. And both of us had done 1,000 talks in the first 3 years of our business. And we went, you're the only other guy I know. He said, you're the only other guy I know. Because most people don't want to do the work.
Right.
You know, the only place success comes before work is in a dictionary. Otherwise, you got to go out and work.
You got to make it happen. You got to work, you got to grind, and you got to have the big thought that it's going to happen, and you have an expectation. And then you have to ask. So you ask others, you ask yourself, you ask others, then you ask God. You say, God.
I asked God, I asked my roommates, I asked Chip Collins, and then I asked people for business. And the 10th guy I talked to, he said, you call 10, one will say yes. You know the faith and ratio. So I called that 10th guy, and he was a big guy. I mean, 450 pounds. He said, my name is Tony. I'm number 1 with Metropolitan. If you got the guts to come here at 6:30 at night when there's no secretary, I ain't going to help you. And then, by the way, here's the directory. I'm number 1 in the number 1 company. You tell everybody, Big Tony called you. Well, man, my little butt was racing from place to do that. That little old Volkswagen, I parked it 2 blocks away because it was an insult to who I was, but I just desperately wanted to be a speaker. And then people kept saying, they asked me, do you have that story in a book? I need it for my wife, my business, my church, or whatever. And I did, first book I did, as you know, was Stand Up, Speak Out, and Win. We sold 20,000 copies at $10 each to little itty bitty audiences, 10 guys in the insurance agency and ladies and and 20 and 30, but I made 20 books times $10. I made $200,000. Today, that's like $2 million.
Oh man, that's big money. Well, hold that thought. We're going to come right back. Do you see what asking does for you folks? That's why you got to get this book. We'll be right back. Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show with my special guests, Mark, Victor Hansen, and Crystal Dwyer Hansen. We'll be right back. And for sure, your best is yet to come.
Friendship is not about being convenient. It's about being committed and consistent. You can call on me when you need me. You can call on me. Call me. You can call on me. Pick up the phone. You can call and call me.
Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and people often ask, how did I go from a broke, busted nightclub singer to become a best-selling author and to be voted one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world by the 175,000 members of Toastmasters International? The answer is that I decided to invest and change my thinking, invest in my mindset, and decided to change my inputs because inputs determine outputs. I heard about a seminar years ago when I was just getting started. I was making about $100 a speech. And I heard this seminar that was creating millionaires, and it cost $10,000, but the guy was getting results. I didn't have that kind of money, but I decided to borrow it because I learned that there's a price for success, the price of college, the price of going to school, the price of education. And there's a price for success, and then there's a cost for not paying the price, the cost of staying the same. And that cost is greater than the price. It's too expensive. And so I went and it changed my life. And I came back and quickly made $100,000. I heard a similar story from Dr. Dave Martin, how he went to a success rally, heard a speaker who inspired him. He and his friend said, wow, that's changed my life. The speaker had a package of materials to help build wealth. The package cost $1,500. And that was all the money Dr. Dave had to his name. Dr. Dave's friend asked, do you think this stuff is worth it? Dr. Dave thought for a moment. He said, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. But I do know that I'm worth it. I'm worth it. He invested that money in that package and used the materials to grow his thinking. He grew his mindset. He shared how that $1,500 investment has gone on to generate millions in revenues. He's a multimillionaire. And he has homes now in Arizona and Florida. I want to say to you, it's time to invest in you. I want to give you some materials that will help you, grow your mindset, grow your future, grow your finances. Go to wjspeaks.com/billionaire. wjspeaks.com/billionaire to get some materials that will inspire your success and will help you find that there's a price for success, but there's a cost for not paying the price. And the cost is always greater than the price. Go to wjspeaks.com/billionaire and get the bag, the box, or any of the materials there and keep growing your wealth. And remember, as a man thinketh, so as he is, and your best is yet to come.
And I'm back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I'm so excited all of you are here. I want to encourage everybody to go to winwithwillie.com. Winwithwillie.com. We got all sorts of sites there. It's a one-stop shop for all my sites. I got my business site. I've got my youth motivation site. I've got my marriage site, Jolly Marriage. I've got my faith-based site, jollygoodnews.org. We've got our Attitude of Excellence site. We've got music site. We got all sorts of stuff, and we got a place where you can get my resources. winwithwillie.com. winwithwillie.com. My special guests are the incredible couple, power team, Mark Victor Hansen and his beautiful bride, Crystal Dwyer Hansen. They have an incredible new book, and it is awesome. It will inspire not just you, but also your family members, your cousins, your aunts. I encourage you to go get copies for everybody in your network. Just bless them. And then if you're in network marketing, you want to make this your book of the month. You want to make this your book of the month because you know what I tell people in network marketing, you got to ask people and go to ask people, talk to people. And when you finish, go and talk to more people and ask more people. So you got to keep talking. Well, this book is called Ask, How the Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny. Where can they get the book? Mark and Crystal, please let them know.
You can get the book almost anywhere you want. The independent bookstores like Books A Million, Hudson, wherever, or Barnes & Noble. But most people are going to Amazon, and we've been so blessed that we've sold out. And on a Saturday, a couple of weeks ago, I called our publisher. You don't call New York publishers on a Saturday morning. This is not kosher. And I said, hey, we're sold out. What are we going to do? He said, well, it'll take 8 weeks to get hardbound books back. So what are you willing to do? You won't let me go POD, print on demand, and print one every 6 seconds. I said, absolutely. So we're competing with ourselves. But right now, we just came back and we're back selling the book, and it's rocking to the top. And we are thankful because I believe Ask, The Bridge from Your Dreams to Destiny, is going to stand on top of the 500,000 copies we sold of Chicken Soup for the Soul and transcend it. Now, I've got a lot of books I've sold multiple millions of copies of, The 1 Minute Millionaire and Aladdin Factor and all that. But this is the opus of my life.
Well, I'm just loving it. And the fact you wrote it with your wife, that's a great big deal, man. That's a great big deal. And she is well versed and well prepared to be your co-author on this specific book because she has the tools to make this book really come to life. And I love the first part. And y'all are just fantastic. And the book is fantastic. Okay, so we want to talk about how do we help people now get from their place where they say, I got a dream, I got a goal, but I'm not quite sure how to get from my dreams to my destiny. What must I do? Give them some of the steps that you think they'll do out of the book, some of the things they must do.
You have to be teachable, okay? You have to be so willing to utilize all of the techniques and all of the tools in the book. These things don't happen without our own personal involvement. And remember, before we talked about you create your life internally from the inside out. So all that time, people think, oh, I'm too busy. I can't spend 15 minutes or a half hour with myself in the morning. Yes, you can. Because
that's a great point. That's a great point. Taking daily time for your personal development, spending time. I know Mark has done that for years, reading something every day, of self-affirmations every day, having those they build you, they grow you. So that's one of the things you're recommending doing.
Yep, absolutely. It's essential. This is your creative time. Just call it, this is create my lifetime.
Create my lifetime.
Because that's how you do it in your own private eternal world. With that's where you meet God. Be still and know that I am God. Well, you're the offspring of God, and so that's where you feel that oneness. If when everything's crazy and you're running around trying to get things done, you don't always feel that oneness. That's where you get your inspiration. That's where you ask the questions and listen for the answers. Wow. And live with the question all day. Expect the answers everywhere.
I love it. I love it. So if you ask the questions and you learn how to ask the right questions, you get more and more of the right answers, but you have to be willing to ask. Okay, I'm going to ask y'all to do something for me. I do this in every interview. If I heard you, I will come into DC and I say, I'm going to pick you up and I'm going to take you over to Howard University, which is not too far from my home. And we're going to go over to see a student class of entrepreneurs, a small business class. They want to be entrepreneurs. They want to be successful. Tell them, each one of you tell 3, you got us. You got to do this. If you're going to be successful, you got to do this. Crystal, please start.
I just think you got to realize that there's always someone who has something to teach you. We walk by sort of the one of the roadblocks we talk about is naivete, and we can't walk by people or meet people and just not be a little more curious about who they are and what they do, because you never know where your next best advocate's coming from, your next best friend, your next business partner, and we don't know what we don't know, right?
Amen.
We need to be open and curious to everyone and every opportunity, and really be willing to say, is there something in here for me? Because I'm here to learn and grow.
Amen. Amen. Mark.
I'm going to do about 7 rather than 3, if you don't mind.
Okay.
But first of all, you got mindset, create your money set. So you got to have a state of mind, which means you got to be listening to positive stuff like your shows, my tapes, my YouTubes and all that. And then number 1 is you got to, in that mindset, you got to say, okay, God, what's your destiny for me? What's your destiny for me? What's your destiny? When it comes true, point number 3, you got to put it in writing. It's got to be writing because that's the law. I didn't set up the law. then you got to visualize it to realize. You got to see. You and I have known each other long enough that I was visualizing I was going to be the world's best-selling author, and
Right.
you know that there were critics in the audience going, "You guys sold 10 books, 100 books, 1,000 books," and then all of a sudden, Bob Proctor, because he was just on your show, said, "Mark told me he was going to sell 50 million books," and I go, "I never want to be negative, but boy, I love Marky." But the chance of him pulling that off, and then you got to have a mastermind. You got to have your dream team. 1 and 1 is the power of 11. The Bible says clearly, 1 can move 1,000, 2 can move 10,000. Everyone at Howard understands that. And then you got to decide to go for it with such active gusto that you become unstoppable. And then last but not least, you got to let go of all the naysayers. You got to say, I'm not listening to any of that junk, any of that. Because what you think of me is none of my business. You don't have to believe I'm going to be world's best-selling author. Now, just the opposite happened. I'll just do this real quick. We were on the biggest show for Amazon bestseller with Mark Devereaux, who's a lovely, wonderful man. And he said, "You, Mark Victor Hansen, are the Roger Bannister of books." Now, you remember Roger Bannister in 1953 ran a 4-minute mile. I said, "Mark, do you know what happened the next week?" He said, "No, sir, what happened?" I said, 119 people ran a 4-minute mile. Now, physiologically, anatomically, we're no different, but he broke the barrier. I'm breaking the barrier. He said, "Well, give me an example." I said, "Well, 2 years ago, nobody's $1 trillion company. We've got 5 of them now. Apple last week just went to 2 trillion. We're going to have a lot of people start selling more books. They're going to get off and say, well, the publisher said if I sell 5,000, I'm doing good." Well, that's okay. But you get books in the garage. You don't want books in your garage. I want people to have my books, read my books, think, and then, I've made more millionaires now than anybody since Napoleon Hill, and I want to do even more of that.
Man, see, that's why I love having guests like Mark and his beautiful bride, Crystal, on this show, because they give you the real deal about where they have been, what they have done, the struggles, the challenges, the questions that people had about them, the doubts that others could have impacted and directed them off track, but they refuse to listen. And that's why they're here today. Please, one more time as we close out this incredible interview. The great ones always go fast. Where can they get the book? What's the name of the book? And what else do you have to offer that they say, I want more? Tell them about it.
So you can get the book at Amazon. It's called A.S.K, The Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or any of the small bookstores, the indies are carrying it. Also, join us at Ask the Book Club. We'd like to send you an invitation to join the book club. It's free, so love to have you there. And I think the thing that we need to remember is that there is absolutely no mechanism that has the ability to reveal what is hidden from you like asking. So we want everybody to take that asking journey with us and become a master asker. It will change everything in your life.
I love this.
If you go to crystalvisionlife.com, that'd be great. Or if you go to markvictorhansen.com, we both got free gifts for you. We want everyone to do and have all the good that they desire, because the world's opening up again. And I am teaching, I've got a little book that we give away free called How to Be Up and Down Times. And we say, in the next 5 years, we're going to do $50 trillion worth of business. We want everyone to be part of that.
Wow. One more book I have to shout out before I end this interview. Mark Victor Hansen has a book on tithing. I think it's the best book I've ever read on tithing ever in my life, and how tithing is not something that you get pushed to do. It's something you should strive to do. Am I right about it, Mark?
Absolutely. The Miracle of Tithing is a great book. And the guy I talked about that got me into speaking, when he was upside down, he'd been the number one salesman at Kodak. He was ambidextrous, which means you can write from the right and left hand simultaneously, which he could do. He's brilliant. But he's out of money. He's got a wife and 2 kids. He's got down to 8 cents. He goes into the Catholic Church. He puts 8 cents in the thing and said, God, I thought you wanted me to do this rather than sell Kodak, and I'm not making it. What are you going to do? He's walking out of the church crying. Guy pulls at his pants leg and said, aren't you Chip Collins? I said, guilty. He said, you came in my office last week and I didn't have $400, but I want to write you a check right now for $400 for your seminar. He went home and had milk for his babies, a steak for his wife, a little bottle of champagne, and his business took off. So some of you that are down and out and at the last breath and you think you're just hanging on and you're so low, you got to reach up to touch bottom. You still got a shot if you ask yourself to become a tither.
I love it. I love it. Well, folks, I want you to go get the book, Ask, and get it today. Go get multiple copies and make sure you share it with your network. Also, I want to thank Mark and Crystal. I want to thank, again, Truist Financial for being my sponsor, for being my friend, for making a commitment to the community and going the extra mile for people who are in community service, who are in small business, who are in the stretches and the struggles of life, who want to build successful wealth building and legacy leaving lives that are generational. We want to thank Truist.com. Go to Truist.com, Truist.com, Truist.com. Member FDIC. And then I want to thank all of you for making this show the number one self-help show in the country. I want to encourage you to go to winwithwillie.com. Join us on Monday night at 9:00 for Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last, the broadcast from our book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last, the book, on Facebook Live and Instagram Live every Monday night at 9:00 Eastern. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways Show. And for sure, your best is yet to come. God bless you.
Are you tired of crying and complaining? Tired of feeling like life don't treat you fair? Do you see so many others moving on while you're steady going nowhere? Have you maybe come to the conclusion that there's nothing at all that you can do?
Well, I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode, and I hope you got something of great value. And I hope that you were inspired, you were motivated, you were empowered, and you were encouraged to live your best life. I hope this information and this inspiration will help you to do more, be more, and to achieve more. That's the goal why I started this program, and I hope it helped you in a mighty way. Now, I ask you to make sure and that you take full advantage of all the resources that came through this program. I hope you go to wjspeaks.com/gift and get some of the free resources that we have there for you. I hope you go to wjspeaks.com/shop to get some of the books that we have created, that we've labored over to make sure that they will deliver a powerful message to you. I hope you go to williejolly.com/billionaire, williejolly.com/billionaire, or wjspeaks.com/billionaire to get the box that it will inspire your whole family, or get the bag of books. Make this a great day, a great week, a great month. And remember, it is true that you are blessed and all things are possible for them that believe. So make the most of the belief that you have now in your future. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Have a great day.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.